Test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3.
Okay, we're going to start the meeting. Please stand, flag salute. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shi,
Here.
Mr. Mohin Patel,
Here.
Ms. Peng, Ms. Conway,
Here.
Dr. Chen, Ms. Podolsky,
Here.
Ms. Madakar,
Here.
Ms. White,
Here.
and Mr. Burrell Patel.
Just walked in.
Here.
All present.
Okay. Opening statement, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Aston Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Board of Education administrative offices. Copies of the notices were sent to the Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger on January 5th, 2021. The public may participate at regular meetings in accordance with the bylaws and the applicable state regulations. So usually this is the, we have a lot of people attending this meeting before, but during the pandemic, we don't have a lot of people. Every year, this is an exciting time. We appreciate the outstanding teachers that have done this year for our district. And this year, besides the teachers, we also added supporting staff. So without further ado, Dr. Bragan.
Thank you, Shi. As Board President Shi said, normally we honor our teachers today, and because of, as we were planning for this with the remote status of this year, we're going to do it virtually. So we do have a video prepared. I think it's about a half hour, where each of our principals and our Teachers of the Year and Educational Services Professionals of the Year are going to get recognized, and some are going to say a few words. So without further ado, if we could start that up. And maybe the board members, before you do that, could sit over here, because the screen's right there.
Good evening. I am Mr. Gravel, the very proud principal of Benjamin Franklin Elementary School. And it's my honor to introduce our 2021 Teacher of the Year, Amanda Lyons. Amanda is a special education teacher who works with children with autism. She makes the challenge of patience, empathy, and encouragement. Amanda is resourceful as she produces individualized lessons and activities to meet the diverse needs of her students. Amanda is involved in the community as she is the advisor for our Pledge Unified Friends program, has raised money for Special Olympics, organizes Super Bowl Fair Fund, and promotes World Autism Awareness and is a student mentor. For these reasons and many others, it is evidence as to why our community selected Amanda Lyons, 2021 Ben Franklin Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Amanda.
Honestly, it's any single time that the kids make me laugh. Like really, any single time that I get to share a laugh with them, that I get to share any good emotion with them, is really probably seared into my brain forevermore.
Congratulations to Mrs. Podolsky, our Educational Services Professional of the Year at Benjamin Franklin this year. Thank you for all of your dedication and support to our school for over 17 years. This is well deserved. Congratulations.
Hi, this is Mike Sutton, principal of James Madison Primary School, and I have the absolute privilege of introducing you to Ms. Helen Enriquez, who is our Teacher of the Year. Ms. Enriquez goes completely beyond every day to make sure that her students' academic needs are met, and also to emotional needs. But what sets her apart is how humble she is. She flies below the radar and really doesn't like any of the activists. In fact, she probably doesn't like me speaking about her right now and wants this video to end. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Ms. Enriquez, it's an absolute pleasure to have her in school, and we're honored to have her.
I think forming relationships with my students, I always remember those relationships. Like, I love to just take time and to sit and talk with them because they have all of these great stories and they always have so much to say and to share. So I really love to do that with them. And I love building those relationships where we have fun and we get to laugh, and then actually watching them learn through having a good time and watching them get these concepts and have fun learning. It seems to really enjoy it.
I would like to congratulate Mrs. Leah Abernathy of James Madison Primary School as the Educational Support Professional of the Year. Mrs. Leah Abernathy is integral in the wellness of the staff and students at the school. Mrs. Leah Abernathy is her heart and every decision she makes, and we're lucky to have her. Congratulations, Mrs. Abernathy.
My name is Donna Dunmarco, and as the proud principal of James Madison Intermediate School, I am thrilled to recognize Mrs. Alyssa Peters as our Teacher of the Year. As a self-contained special education teacher, Mrs. Peters accepts and loves her students for who they are and helps them see the potential within themselves. Along with her team of paraprofessionals, Mrs. Peters has created a classroom environment that is nurturing and positive. She is passionate, dedicated, creative, collaborative, and a gift to the JMI school community. Congratulations, Mrs. Peters, on being named James Madison Intermediate School Teacher of the Year.
So when I was in third grade, I had a teacher who not only made learning fun every day, but she taught us social and emotional learning skills, and she always checked in with every student in her class, and she really made everyone in the class feel that she really cared about us. And I remember thinking, I want to do that. I want to be a teacher. I want to not only teach my students how to read and how to multiply, I want to teach them how to socialize, how to empathize, and how to communicate with each other. I just remember thinking, that's what I want to do.
I am proud to present Mrs. Carol Hahn, the reading specialist at James Madison Intermediate School, as the Educational Support Professional of the Year. Mrs. Carol Hahn is integral in reading with children for reading intervention and planning things like the Reading Across America Week. Congratulations, Mrs. Hahn.
James Monroe has hit a home run with Mrs. Cindy Reed, our Teacher of the Year. Being a great physical education teacher has always been her goal. Mrs. Reed gives teaching her best shot. Mrs. Reed is always willing to jump in to help her colleagues. We are happy to have her on our team.
So I have a student, watching him grow up, going from kindergarten through fifth grade, he was always growing improperly, stepping with the wrong foot, not transferring his weight. And the day in fourth or fifth grade, when he stepped with his opposite foot and threw with his right hand, I was jumping for joy, he was jumping for joy, everyone in the class was jumping for joy. So it was an honor to see that when a student puts their mind to it, they can succeed.
We have a word about our ESP of the Year, Mrs. Laura Stengel, our speech language specialist. Her collaborative, creative communication helps James Monroe students express themselves. She is always sending the right tone. The message is clear. We are proud to have Mrs. Stengel at James Monroe.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Hoffman, the principal of John Marshall Elementary School. It is with great pride that John Marshall School has chosen Mrs. Charbon as the recipient of the 2020-2021 school year. Mrs. Charbon is exceptionally creative with her lessons, an innovative thinker, and a passionate member of our third grade team. Mrs. Charbon has such enthusiasm, love, and passion for teaching her students. She has been a dedicated educator within the Edison School District for 6 years and has so much to offer the John Marshall community. Mrs. Charbon uses a variety of strategies to make her teaching effective, and her positive and cheerful attitude are truly admirable. Mrs. Charbon teaches her students to strive for excellence, to show respect to one another, and to push themselves to reach their individual potential. This is why John Marshall School has selected Erica Charbon as their 2020-2021 Teacher of the Year.
I always thought growing up when I was in high school and I wanted to be a teacher, my goal in life was
serves as a reading specialist at our school. This is program she exudes positivity and enthusiasm for her students and wants all of her students to feel special. She's very creative and finds ways to obtain funding for special school projects. Congratulations.
Good evening. My name is Lucas Geller, the office of Working on Middle School. I'm here to introduce Mrs. Kathy Gilbert as a Miss Teacher of the Year. It was with great pride that we had Mrs. Korchak. Mrs. Korchak is a 21-year veteran who has had a eternal drive to learn new ways to affect positive change for her students. She always makes sure that her students' social and emotional needs are met. Giving those deep personal connections with her students helps the students realize there's always an adult in their corner. This is extremely important during COVID, when our students were home alone for up to 18 months by themselves during the school day. Although her school day never really ended at 3:42, it does not take long to see that she truly loves her students. On a personal note, Mrs. Korchak is now the proud grandmother of baby Michael, and she cannot get enough of that woman. Lincoln would not be the same without Mrs. Korchak. Congratulations, Mrs. Korchak, on Lincoln's Teacher of the Year.
It was the first day back from winter break, and I had decided over break to cut my hair short and highlight it. So as the students were coming in that morning, I was standing there greeting my second graders, and a little boy stopped, and he looked at me, and he said, "What, you lose a bet?" And I hear that, and it still makes me laugh. It just still makes me laugh. He was 7. He was 7.
I would like to introduce Mrs. Lorraine Seibert, the Lincoln Educational Service Professional of the Year. Mrs. Seibert is a well-known parent at Lincoln. She meets all her students' academic, social, and emotional needs. Ultimately, Mrs. Seibert's responsibility is to level the playing field to ensure the students have the same opportunities as any other student at Lincoln. Mrs. Seibert is a difference maker in the student's life, and it's a pleasure to announce Mrs. Seibert, Lincoln's Educational Service Professional of the Year.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Joe Ross. I am the proud principal of Lincoln Elementary School. It is my distinct honor to announce the 2020-2021 Teacher of the Year. At the core of teaching is an understanding that we as educators have the power to change the world, and we use this power to make a difference one child at a time. When I think about a Teacher of the Year, this is what comes to mind. In addition to the fact that teacher is a calling, those called to service will experience a lifetime of fulfillment and happiness when we all experience the same. Throughout this pandemic, our Teacher of the Year has ensured that all our students get connected with each other, our school, and our world. We all know that there's more things like that happen. So when our teacher drives to their students' home and wishes them a happy birthday, or organizes an donation drive for families in need throughout this pandemic, that has an impact that is not around. Though our teacher is a phenomenal personal teacher, I have seen her use her PhD in social work, PhD in nursing, food services, lecture, and love to make Lindenthal a great place to go for all. Congratulations, Mrs. Carrie Rinaldi, on becoming Lindenthal's Teacher of the Year.
I teach first grade, so this is a grade where they really learn how to read. So having that foundation of aha, like, oh my goodness, Mrs. Rinaldi, I can read now, I think is one of the most touching parts of being a teacher. Also the hugs that I get daily. And then also finally, I've had so many students come back to me and who are now teachers, and some of them are working in Edison now also. So I think those memories together are like what is special to me.
It is my pleasure to present this year's Educational Support Staff Award to the person that continues to bring art, collaboration to life for all Lindenthal students, whether in person or virtually. Ms. Angela Lombardo.
As the proud principal of Martin Luther King Elementary, I'd like to congratulate Ms. Kim Jackson for Teacher of the Year for the 2021 school year. Ms. Jackson goes above and beyond her normal school day and has affected over hundreds of students there than she does. As the honor-filled mind coach, she has taken students out of their comfort zone and led them to greatness. We congratulate and thank Ms. Jackson for everything she does for our learning community.
I stayed at home for a few years from home, and watching children just learn and grow was always very inspiring to me, and even producing humans that were going to be more than just smart, but to also be like, important things like courteous and kind and empathetic, and being a team player and accepting others and being open, especially all that stuff matters, especially in today's climate. So it's nice to have an input on something that's really important for children.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Fisher, and I'm the proud assistant principal of Martin Luther King Elementary School. I am honored to introduce Ms. Cindy Meisner as our Educational Support Professional of the Year. Her work goes far beyond what she does in the clinic as a school nurse and expands to our greater community. Ms. Meisner, thanks for all that you do for the students of MLK.
Good evening, I'm Michael Duggan, principal of Middleburg School, and I'm here to talk about Diane Taylor, our Teacher of the Year. Diane's been a teacher here for 26 years at Middleburg School. She does an incredible job. Her students love being in their class. She shot all kinds of videos to help support her kids during this pandemic. She has a very interesting way of instructing. And anytime you turn around at a special school event, Diane is there. So we want to say thank you so much, Diane Taylor, and congratulations on being Teacher of the Year.
We were in one of our closing circles, and one of the little boys who was working from home, he asked me, he's like, when is this COVID thing going to be over? So I said to him that, people were getting vaccines, and they were working on a vaccine for kids, so things were looking really hopeful. So he goes, Ms. Taylor, I don't feel like I'm missing out on first grade because I'm having a great time. And that just really meant so much to me because at the beginning of the year, I was really concerned about how we were going to bond as a class with computer screens, and I never should have doubted it.
Ms. Kendall Mellinger is our Educational Services Professional of the Year here at Menlo Park School. She works in our multiple disabled program, providing critical support to some of our students. She's a wonderful colleague, collaborative, helpful, and she really represents what a mighty heroes at Menlo Park School, respectful, responsible, and kind. Congratulations again to Ms. Kendall Mellinger.
Ms. Petra Carroll has 24 years of experience in Edison and is one of the first teachers to start a program for students with autism. She has been a big contributor to helping our school implement a positive and effective program for these students. Ms. Petra Carroll takes pride in dedicating herself to help her students have a successful day of learning. She has developed a positive relationship with her students' families and knows that together they can achieve their students' goals. Thank you, Ms. Petra Carroll, for being part of our school. We are very lucky to have you watch.
I was a swim instructor, was about 17, 18, and I was approached by a mom who had a daughter with severe ADHD, and I taught her one-to-one instruction in the pool, and I taught her how to swim. So I said from there on I wanted to teach children, and I also wanted to teach children that had some disabilities, special needs, and now here I am today.
Our Educational Services Professional of the Year is Mrs. Laura Scamacca. Mrs. Scamacca continues to be a vital part of the West community. She continues to support our staff, parents, families, and most importantly, students. Thank you for everything you do, Mrs. Scamacca.
Congratulations to Mrs. Nicole Donnelly on her well-deserved recognition as Woodbrook's Teacher of the Year. Mrs. Donnelly is a wonderful teacher who cares deeply about each and every child in her class. A true advocate for students and families, she works tirelessly to provide children with the attention and love they deserve. Her fun, outgoing personality makes her easy to love and please her, and we are thrilled to call her our Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Mrs. Donnelly.
I always wanted to become a teacher. Ever since I was little, I remember I wanted to be one. But it wasn't until I went to Rutgers and I took a course and they had us go to the Douglas Developmental Disability Center. And I observed
Urban River Middle School's 2020-2021 Teacher of the Year. It's fitting that Mrs. Reddick is receiving this long overdue recognition at this particular moment. The qualities that have always made Mrs. Reddick a truly great teacher have proven themselves to be even more valuable over the course of the past year. Mrs. Reddick has always set high academic standards for 6th grade science students, while simultaneously creating a nurturing environment where curiosity and exploration are both encouraged and rewarded. This year, as the world shrank around her students, Mrs. Reddick made her class a place where students could connect with her, the world, and each other. During the pandemic, Mrs. Reddick was here at Hoover each day, providing her students with a consistent, familiar learning experience. Additionally, Mrs. Reddick ensured every student was invited to her office hours and spent an incalculable number of hours providing students with extra help and support. Mrs. Reddick loves her family, her profession, and the New Jersey Devils. Thank you, Mrs. Reddick, for being the light that allowed your students to shine in the midst of such darkness.
I have lots of different memories. I have memories from when I first started, those first 3 years. I taught combinations of 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. I had a lot of students multiple times. Now some of them are in their mid-30s, and they've reconnected with me. So the fact that some of them still remember things that I taught them or things that I used to say, those are the kind of memories that they remember.
Congratulations to Joanne Massey for being named Herbert Brewer Middle School's Educational Services Professional of the Year. Mrs. Massey's dedication, kindness, and support of her children makes her more than deserving of this honor. Congratulations, Mrs. Massey, on this award.
Congratulations to Mr. Grant Petrick, John Adams Middle School Teacher of the Year. Grant is everything anyone could possibly want in a teacher. He's genuine, he's respectable, he's ambitious, he's extremely talented, and most importantly, he cares about the needs of students. He's well respected in our school community. He's the co-facilitator of our PBSIS committee, a mentor, and a team leader. I'm so proud of Grant Petrick. Congratulations once again on this great accomplishment.
When I think about it, I'm really asking when it started, it's literally, it was an answer that you heard before. Other teachers, I remember there were history teachers and English teachers more than the other teachers, and only because those are subjects in the journey that I really picture. Other teachers who would tell stories and you sit there and hang them on or create an interesting assignment that you suddenly realize it connected to what you were learning, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. You know, wondering that and hoping that you can kind of have a couple of those moments while you're teaching and recognizing that, you know what, the teachers that you remember, the ones who tried hard and tried to make it interesting and tried to make it relatable and want to kind of do that.
I'd like to congratulate Sakuya Teddy, our Education Service Professional of the Year for John Adams Middle School. She's so sweet, kind, and student-centered. She's a valuable member of our James community and well-deserving this honor.
My name is Mrs. Emmett, and I'm the principal of Thomas Jefferson Middle School. I am truly honored to congratulate Mrs. Marina Kraft, the recipient of this year's Teacher of the Year. For the last 8 years, Mrs. Kraft has consistently demonstrated a commitment to her students by delivering fun and authentic lessons and engage learners in complex thinking, using high-level tasks, questions, strategies, and feedback. Her love for the subject of math is palpable, and we are fortunate to have her at TJ. Mrs. Kraft, you're truly deserving of the 2020-2021 Teacher of the Year recognition. Congratulations.
I ran into a student at Target from my first year of TJ, and I was with my husband, and she just raved about our class and like projects we did, and I'm like, wow, that was 10 years ago, and you remember that project. So I think that just that learning aspect can be fun. That learning can be fun, and that students actually remember those things. I think that's my favorite part.
Congratulations to Ms. Abraham Gulama, our Educational Staff Professional of the Year at Thomas Jefferson Middle School. He works with our students on a daily basis to make sure that they are the best that they can be. We congratulate him and thank him for all the work that he does at Thomas Jefferson Middle School.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Blevins, and I am the principal of Woodrow Wilson Middle School. It is my honor and privilege to introduce the Woodrow Wilson Year, Eloisa Almanzar. Mrs. Almanzar is an innovative and dedicated Spanish teacher. She always finds creative ways to teach the content that she is passionate about. She not only teaches students the Spanish language, but also to view their lives through a cultural lens that is not their own. The admiration her students have for her is evident as they light up whenever speaking about Mrs. Almanzar. Beyond the classroom, Mrs. Almanzar finds ways to support all staff at WWMS. She is always willing to offer a helping hand, collaborate, and support novice teachers. Yet, she does more than that by building trusting relationships that encourage a love of learning of all subjects for all people that she encounters. Congratulations to Mrs. Eloisa Almanzar, Woodrow Wilson Middle School Teacher of the Year.
In high school, I actually got into a program called AmeriCorps, which is like a national version of Peace Corps. And I met a lot of service-oriented people, one of which was a pastor. And he was running ESL classes at night. And that was the first opportunity. So he asked me, and I was very willing to help him out. So I would go to the church basement Friday nights to teach this group of highly motivated adults who were really trying to learn English. And so that was the first time that I said to myself, I could definitely see myself making education a career.
Hello everyone, I'm Reenu Kendrada, Assistant Principal at Woodrow Wilson Middle School. I am honored to represent Tamara Richmond, our media specialist for the prestigious ESP Award. Ms. Richmond has changed the face of Media Center here at Woodrow Wilson. With her hard work, dedication, and positive energy, our Media Center is bustling with staff and students. We're honored and proud to have her as part of our Woodrow Wilson team. Congratulations for the well-deserved award.
Hi, it's my pleasure and honor, Mr. Matthew McWigan, our Edison High Teacher of the Year for 2020-2021. One of the best dressed people, one of the smartest. Even though he graduated from JP, he now leads the Red Bull. Whatever you need him to do, he'll do for you. And that goes for administration, but more importantly for students. He's able to break down the most complex mathematical functions so that everybody can understand it, master it, and move on. He's a role model for so many, and he inspires me every day to be a better me. Thank you, Mr. McWigan, for all you do to be what's great about Edison High.
So to me, teaching was a calling. As I said, I grew up in Edison. I had a lot of great teachers. I went through the Edison school system, and a lot of teachers inspired me. And looking back on that, I saw that I wanted to make a difference in the world. And the best way for me to do that was to help students achieve success, achieve their dreams, to inspire them in return. Because by doing that, we can make the world a better place.
Edison High School's Educational Service Professional of the Year is Mr. Mark Schwartz. He is so deserving of this award. He brings his humor and creativity to the classroom. He holds kids accountable and engages them, and loves to get them working with their hands. We're so lucky to have him. Congratulations, Mr. Schwartz.
I am honored to announce Ms. Laura Ackerman as the John P. Stevens High School 2021 Teacher of the Year. Laura loves this profession and continuously reinvents teaching to meet the needs of her students. While she has high expectations for them, she fully supports them in their learning. They know it, appreciate it, and respect her for it every single step of the way. Congratulations, Laura, on this well-deserved honor, and thank you for everything you do for JP, both in and out of the classroom. Our hawks fly high because you are the wind beneath their wings.
There's so many moments, groundbreaking moments, but it's thousands of little moments where you see somebody maybe catching a novel or finding their passion in a conversation or class discussion, and it's the students who come back and visit you, or you find out they're doing really well in college. All of these little things kind of add up over the years.
John P. Stevens High School is proud to honor its first educational services professional. As our library media specialist, Ms. Sherry Stein is always willing to help students, faculty, and staff in a variety of ways. She's more valuable to John P. Stevens than the Dewey Decimal System. Congratulations, Ms. Stein.
It is my privilege to announce Jennifer Zolakowski as the Teacher of the Year. Jen Z, as is known, is a preschool teacher at the NPR building for the last 12 years. She's been in district for the last 21 years. Gen Z is one of those teachers that comes along every now and then. She shares her curriculum ideas, her lesson plans, and is always willing to go above and beyond to help other colleagues. Gen Z is popular with students, families, and parents. She is a wonderful role model, and she works with each child's individual strengths and weaknesses, and then looks at the whole child. It is my honor and privilege again to announce Gen Z as the Teacher of the Year at FDR Building. Thank you, Gen Z, for everything you do.
One of my first years of teaching preschool, probably about 17 years ago, and we were preparing for our end of the year show and having, lots of preschoolers with special needs and their entire families coming to watch. Even though it wasn't a perfect performance, just seeing the looks on their parents' faces, it was just something that stands out in my mind as being super rewarding.
It is my privilege to announce Kathleen Rocker as Paraprofessional of the Year at the EPOC building. Rocker, as we call her, is an amazing support staff member who always is willing to go above and beyond. We love you, Rocker!
Okay, so we're gonna go back to our meeting. Just want to say congratulations to all the teachers and staff. That's, their hard work is what made our district great. So any board member have any comments, any public, if you have any comments about what we presented, feel free to come to the podium, say a couple of words. And we usually have a little reception for this event, but unfortunately, during the COVID, we cannot do it. The reception is usually, you see the family members, the friends, they all come to celebrate this great achievement for our teachers and staff. We really appreciate it. So, board members, anyone want to say anything? Yeah, Shivi?
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate all the teachers and support staff who were the recipients of the award today, and it's a great honor. And hopefully next year we can have this in person.
Okay, any other board members? Oh, yeah, Carol.
This is always my most favorite night of the year since I've moved to Edison. And I've taken pride in all the teachers that we have and the other support professionals that we have in the different roles and all they accomplish with the children. But what you see tonight and what you see any one of those years is just the tip of the iceberg. As amazing as these men and women are, there's a whole lot more of them in those classrooms working very hard every day to make this a special experience for the children.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Mrs. Conway. Yeah.
I'd just like to take the time to thank Patrick and company for putting together such a wonderful presentation. And even though the teachers aren't here tonight to actually benefit from such a nice presentation of what they do and how we appreciate them, hopefully they'll get to see it online. And I thank you, Patrick and company. But this, as Mrs. Podolsky has said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Each and every teacher we appreciate, especially this year, going well beyond any expectation of what we would expect from our teachers and staff, was just blown away. So the teachers that got appreciated tonight, I truly do appreciate each and every one of you, but I appreciate all the teachers this year and every year for how much you do for the students and our district. Thank you.
Good. Anybody else? Okay. You want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Once again, congratulations to all the teachers, but every single teacher is valuable, so they are all winners. So thank you.
Yes. Please. Anyone in the audience, they want to come over and speak, more than welcome to do it.
Hello, my name is Elaine Kaufman, 15 Cutter Avenue, Edison. My children went to Edison schools, and this is a very exciting presentation, and it still looks like Edison is really quite on the up and up for education. But here's what I wanted to come and talk to you about. This world is a little crazy. And what's going on with critical race theory is a little bit scary, I guess is the word.
Ma'am, I'm here, Ma'am, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
can't see.
It's okay.
Take my mask.
It's okay, it's all right. So we're going to have an open session discussions for any other topics. So if you have any comments about the presentation and stuff, you're free to talk about it. If you
During
have,
this meeting?
You have other topics, we'll just delay a little bit.
Okay.
We'll have a
Thank
comments
you
on it.
very much for letting me know.
Thank you.
Otherwise, thank you, a very nice presentation.
Thank you. Yep, Matt.
Good evening, Matt Revnak, ETA Vice President. I just want to thank the board for the presentation. Of course, it would always be best to be in person, but it was a very well done, and thank you, Patrick, for what you did. I also want to thank you for, it's very nice to recognize the other support professionals. The teachers seem to always get the credit, and yes, it's well due, as many of the board members said, but it's also nice because our buildings run and are what they are also because of our support people. So I do thank you for acknowledging them as well.
Anybody else in the audience want to talk about, the presentation we just had? Okay. All right. So we are going to our regular agenda. So first, we're going to open up for public comments for resolutions only. For these resolutions only. So anyone who has comments about these resolutions, please come to the podium. None? I'm sorry? Oh, they're in the back. So I'll give you a couple minutes to look at it in case you have any comments or anything. Anybody else? We're good? Yeah. Yeah, you can also comment on these resolutions, the public comments, if you want some time to go through them. Okay. All right. So we'll move on. So first, we are going to the personnel, the labor relations. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
To vote on the personnel report. Mohim Patel, do I have a second? Do I have a second? Okay, Dr. Chen.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Burrell Patel.
Yes.
Ms. White.
Okay, I have to abstain from, let's see,
from two parts of the personnel report. Can you come back to me?
Yeah, you can just say, abstain from family members.
All right, for family members.
Yeah.
There are
Okay.
two parts.
That's good.
It's
Everything else,
easier,
everything
yeah.
else, yes?
I beg your pardon?
Everything else is
Everything
yes.
else is yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Madakar?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Peng? Yes. Mr. Mohin Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes. So moving on, we have the administration. We have items for meeting day change, approving our purchasing agent, the revised, teacher education service, profession recognition, which is did, and a couple of settlements, special ed week, settlement with EPSA. Can I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Okay, Mr. Biro Patel, can I have a second?
Motion.
Okay, Mr. Mohin Patel. Roll call, please.
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Okay, I agree to it all except G, settlement agreement for ESPA.
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay. Ms. Madakar?
Just had one question. This says it was revised. What was revised?
I'm sorry?
This says that it was revised. Was it revised from the caucus meeting?
No.
Okay.
No. This was from the original, but we're adding. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Brigham, you want to explain it?
hear the question. What was the question?
About the purchasing agent revised.
If it's the same as caucus, that's fine.
She was saying that, was there any change between the caucus meeting and this meeting?
There was not.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Okay, yes. Okay, Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohin Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes. So next up, we'll combine the curriculum instructions and the pupil services. The curriculum instruction, including the evaluation rubrics for principal, practice instrument, evaluation principles, and the teachers, field trip, professional development, and for a pupil service out-district placement. Can I have a motion on that?
Motion.
Mohin Patel? Second?
Second.
Biro Patel.
Okay. Mr. Burrell Patel?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Madakar?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohin Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Shi?
Yes. The last is the finance resolutions, approving the minutes in April. Board Secretary reports, finance resolution. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay. Mr. Biro Patel, can I have a second?
Motion.
Okay. Mr. Shivi Prasad Maruka.
Mr. Burrell Patel?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Ms. Madakar?
Yes.
Ms. Podolsky?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Ms. Conway?
Yes.
Ms. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Mohin Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Shi?
Yes. Now we're moving up to the committee reports, CTC. Mrs. Penn?
Yeah, the Curriculum and Technology Committee has a meeting on May.
Shannon, closer.
On May 18th at 12 o'clock. On Zoom, in attendance is myself, Yuna Chen, Mohin Patel, Shivi Madkar, Gail Polikowski, and Bernina Mahabir. We discussed the Go IT will be running this summer. It is a free STEM program created and funded by the Tata Group. Our own Edison teachers will be trained to facilitate this course. Also discussed was elementary gifted and talented criteria. The criteria includes the first level eligibility based on exact path and the special test of creativity, but also include 2 additional measures to allow for additional pathways to qualify. Students will be assessed in the fall for grade 3, 4, and 5 in order to determine eligibility. Parent workshop to discuss this program and eligibility will be conducted virtually in early June. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes,
Jerry?
go ahead.
So I just want to thank Sunil John, who's the head of the sub-business unit for the TCS, which is the Tata Consultancy Services, for even considering the Go IT program for Edison. He reached out to me in December of 2020 about starting the Go IT program in Edison schools. It's a free program available to our middle school students this summer, and I hope that all middle school students will take advantage of this opportunity. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, so Finance Facility Committee. Mo, please.
Okay, I'm going to have the two meetings that we had this month. First one was May 3rd. Present was myself, Dr. Yuna Chen, Elizabeth Conway, Jerry Shi, Dr. Bregan, and Dr. Edward Alderelli. Items discussed was esports. It was determined that we would proceed with the esports arena at Edison High School for September 2021 due to the overcrowding concerns at John P. Stevens High School and the need to demolish a robotic classroom to create the esports arena. This project will be postponed. The monies for the esports arena will come from the district's capital reserve account and cost approximately $400,000. The committee asked Dr. Bregan to discuss with the vendor to get further reductions in the prices. In the meantime, we're still in the process of making some changes and so forth, so right now we're still in talks, so there'll be more details to come. IT audit, the committee agreed to proceed with an audit of the district's information technology infrastructure by Bluefront at a cost not to exceed $10,000. Middle school survey results. The results of the middle school student survey about interest in the proposed Career Academy High School were shared and indicated that over 60%, 2,843 students, expressed interest. At this point, the committee asked Dr. Bregan to contact the DMR architecture firm to create potential designs for this school. Outside facilities rentals. The committee agreed to open up rentals of our facilities for outdoor spaces and athletic fields. In September, inside facilities and classroom spaces will be also open for rental, as was done before the pandemic. Then we had our next meeting, which was scheduled for May 17th. Prior to that, we also had just a informal, basically meeting with our facilities and finance committee. We attended a presentation that was from our insurance broker to our administration. Our broker presented the detailed bids for 21 different companies to our administration team. Based on the data, we were on track to achieve savings more than $10.5 million of the total premiums. This is an additional $5.5 million extra savings than we budgeted. Meetings with the union members about next year's insurance were set up, and we cannot share the companies' names with the public until the information is shared with the union members first. All right, May 17th meeting for the Finance Facilities Committee. Present was Dr. Bregan, Will Calabas, Ralph Barca, Dr. Alderelli, Jerry Shi, myself, Elizabeth Conway, and Gregory Brennan. Sorry. So we discussed capital projects. Will Calabas, Director of Buildings and Grounds, shared with the committee the proposed capital projects for 2021-2022 school year. The list attached for a grand total of approximately $707,000. These projects are part of our annual and ongoing maintenance of our facilities. In addition, the following projects were discussed: roofs at Edison High School, TJMS, and Washington. Cost of approximately $1.1 million. The roofs are in most need of repair and will be scheduled for completion over the summer. The architect firm of DMR will coordinate the efforts. Parking lots at JP Stevens and Edison High School. Cost of approximately $400,000. These are all scheduled to be completed over the summer. We are waiting for more masonry bids to come in to ascertain the exact cost of each project. Overcrowding. Mr. Shi then led a discussion about how we can use the annual budget of $6 million and additional $11.4 million in state aid to deal with the overcrowding issues at our most crowded schools, John Adams, John Marshall, and James Madison Intermediate. It was determined that Dr. Bregan will ask representatives from DMR to review the SSP referendum plans for these schools to use as guides to develop their own proposals. Chromebooks. Ralph Barca reviewed our Chromebook options of either larger and smaller screen units for annual replacements. He indicated that students and teachers survey data reveal that the 11-inch screens were better options. This year's replacement devices are for first and sixth grade students and are scheduled for September 2021 implementation. After this, a discussion ensued about the memory capacities of Chromebooks. Mr. Burka shared that we tend to buy Chromebooks at the mid-price level, which have sufficient memory and are cost-effective compared to MacBooks. Okay, it's a long list, oh my God. So Mr. Shi asked the status of the summer internship program for our high school students. The district, Mr. Burka is in the process of implementing the program, and the applications will start soon. District has allocated the funding for the program. It is a win-win solution for both the district and the students. If the program works well, the committee requested it should continue during the school year, providing students with opportunities to have hands-on experience. In regards to the Lincoln additions, Dr. Bragan, Mr. Calibas provided an update on the Lincoln Elementary School addition and that the asbestos abatement bid was being awarded at May's Board of Education meeting, with an anticipated date of awarding the construction bid at the June's meeting. As of now, things are on track for completion by September 2022. And J.P. Stevens baseball fields. Expressed parental concerns about the John P. Stevens baseball fields were reviewed, and the committee felt that in the short run, we should address the immediate concerns and redo the mounds on the JV and varsity baseball fields. We discussed the possibility of using some of this year's excess surplus funds to potentially create a turf baseball field at JPS. Mr. Calabas will get cost estimates and contact representatives from DMR to explore this option. We will report back to the committee when we have more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Township Liaison Committee, Mrs. White.
The Edison Township Board of Ed Liaison Committee meeting was held on Tuesday, May 4th at 11 a.m. at the Education Center. In attendance were Council VP Sam Joshi, Councilwoman Joyce Ship Freeman, Board of Ed Vice President Mohan Patel, Board of Ed members Shivi Prasad Madikar, Biral Patel, and Virginia White, and also Superintendent Dr. Bernard Bragan. Also in attendance via Zoom were Mayor Thomas Lanke, Deputy Fire Chief, Office of Emergency Manager Coordinator Andy Toth, Township Business Administrator Maureen Ruan, and Edison Addiction Services Coordinator Holly Honorato. The committee welcomed everyone to the meeting. Gloria Detman of the Edison Art Society provided the committee with an update. The Edison Art Society will award 3 scholarships of $500 each, one for our high schools, Edison High and J.P. Stevens High School, and one for Middlesex College on Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. This is the Art Society's 7th continuous year of awarding scholarships to our very talented students. Topics discussed. Councilwoman Joyce Ship Freeman stated that she spoke to Township Fire Department personnel. She suggested that they speak with high school seniors about possible jobs in that field. We explored the possibility of creating a forum for female students to explore historically male-dominated career fields. Ms. Ship Freeman also advocated again for tennis courts for our 4 middle schools. Dr. Bragan mentioned that he would bring it up at the next Facility Finance Committee meeting. In addition, Ms. Ship Freeman spoke about her Peace and Unity rally to be held on Saturday, May 23rd, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Lake Papiani. Everyone is welcome. Council VP Sam Joshi spoke of Edison Youth Services, a program where students work as interns in the municipality to shadow people in public service careers such as township engineers, inspectors, council people, etc. Mr. Joshi will follow up with more information for Dr. Bragan to review. Andrew Toth, Deputy Fire Chief, Office of Emergency Manager Coordinator, said that he would set up a meeting with Dr. Bragan to discuss information on fire careers. Deputy Chief Toth provided us with an update on COVID-19. We secured vaccine for all township and school employees who wanted to be vaccinated. State vaccine megacenters are now opened up as walk-in clinics. Andy is working on getting all the senior citizens vaccinated in town as well. COVID-19 testing is also being set up via drive-through at the municipal complex. COVID-19 vaccine boosters are being explored for a possible availability at the end of the year. In addition, the Jewish Renaissance will be open for walk-in vaccines beginning May the 12th. BOE member Bureau Patel informed the committee that volunteer services used to secure vaccine appointments are not needed any longer because of the walk-in clinics for vaccines that are now available. Mr. Patel expressed concern about people traveling internationally to our community. The district will send a reminder, especially about all international travel, to adhere to CDC protocols. A little update, Dr. Bragan did this via video messaging to the community that very same day. BOE member Shivi Prasad Madhukar asked about the availability of vaccines for students aged 12 to 18. Deputy Chief Toth will look into this and get back to Dr. Bragan with this information. Edison Addiction Services Coordinator Holly Honorado spoke to the committee regarding Narcan training. She also spoke on the availability of information pertaining to mental health and addiction issues. She will follow up with Dr. Bragan also. Mayor Lanke spoke about the proposal on Division Street for a 3-story apartment building. This would have a definite impact on Stelton School. He said they would do all they can to block that proposal. It still needs several formal approvals to move forward. The township is still waiting on the state to determine the Stelton School transfer to the Board of Ed. For our next meeting, the mayor should have updates on the Camp Kilmer property and on Truman Avenue, A group discussion ensued regarding the viability and the use of the Kilmer properties in our community. The committee will return to discussion at the next meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 5th, 11 a.m. at the Education Center. Respectfully submitted, Virginia White.
Thank you. Any board members, any comments for any of the committee?
I just had the Community Relations Committee.
Yes.
The Community Relations Committee met on May 4th at 7 p.m. In attendance were Dr. Bragan, Dr. Alderelli, Carol Badowski, Elizabeth Conway, Virginia White, and Shivi Madhukar. This was a public meeting of the committee via Zoom. Committee members gave updates on recent board initiatives and accomplishments, such as the Parent Help Desk and other important proposals and programs. About 100 people from the community attended. It was an interactive session where people participated from the comfort of their homes. Most folks participated in the meeting via the chat function of Zoom or submitting their queries or suggestions beforehand. Committee members received very positive feedback about these meetings from the public. The next meeting will take place on June 15th at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to add to township liaison minutes. So the board was asked if we are really interested in the Kilmer property.
Bureau.
Yes. So the committee was asked, board committee was asked if we are really interested in the Kilmer property. So we confirm that we are interested. And Shivi, you forgot about a booster shot that you mentioned. Those are the two updates that I had. Because I think what you said is when the booster shot is coming, that's your question, because I think that was led from the mandated preschool that you talked about. Those are the only two updates I had. The confirmation of Kilmer, that we need Kilmer, and this one.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments for the committees?
I just have one comment.
Yes, go ahead.
Question, actually.
Yeah.
So about the insurance broker, I don't see it in the minutes, in the minutes in my packet.
Yeah, I don't think that's part of the public discussions or anything like that. It's been like that in the past, right? Dr. Bregan, you want to comment on it?
Yeah, they didn't want us to put it out formally yet until all the deals are signed and everything. But that information is forthcoming, and I do believe a meeting is scheduled with the collective bargaining units this week, Dr. Alderley, next week. Oh, tomorrow, even better.
No, what I meant was Mohan spoke about it, but it's not written in the committee minutes. I thought he spoke about it.
Yeah, he did. He just told the overall, yes,
Okay,
high
okay.
level.
Yeah, that's all I was.
If you want, we can talk afterwards.
Sure,
Okay,
thank you.
So, any other comments on the committee report? Okay, so board president comments, upcoming meetings. We have 2 more meetings in June, on June 10th, Thursday, and on June 15th, we're going back to Edison High School. So now we're open for board member comments. Board members, so we're gonna go this way. This time, Shivi, let's start with you.
I don't have any comments,
Okay.
thank you.
Carol?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. Shannon? Dr. Chen? You? Elizabeth? Okay. Mrs. White? You good? Bureau?
The only one?
You're the last one, but see, I want to mix up the order a little bit.
All right, so the comments, quite a few parents expressed their concerns about usage of the cricket fields by adults when children want to play cricket. So BOE did not authorize adult cricket leagues to play cricket on school grounds. I mean, BOE did authorize adult cricket leagues to play cricket on school grounds on weekends, and there is an agreement and everything in place. Now, it's great that children would like to play cricket during summer and other times, and all the other sports that they're interested in. And children must always be a priority. Parents came up with this suggestion that what if we have the timings that the teams play cricket on the fields, on the school fields, on the district website. So I reached out to Dr. Bregan yesterday, and today we have all the information available on the website. So thank you so much, Dr. Bregan. So now what happens is that way parents can take a look at the information, and if the field is available, then the children can go there. On the weekdays, it's pretty much available, and the weekends, it's the timings that are reserved, so that way not a single child has to go back home sad for the reason that the cricket fields were used by adults. So if it's available if it's available during a particular time, the children has a first right to use the fields, and they can go and happily play any sports they like. And so thank you so much, Dr. Bregan, and if you can please check into if everything was listed in order, that would be awesome, right? And with the vaccinations, and Jeannie gave update about the township liaison meeting, everything is great, as everyone knows. I did bring up idea about getting children aged 12 to 15 years vaccinated, but we all know that plenty of appointments are available, so that's not of a concern anymore. However, as there are no vaccines for elementary school children, some parents express their concern about school reopening. We must take it very seriously. But Dr. Bregan did update in the last meeting about reopening plans in September, that we will know more in coming weeks and months. So that's the information that I have, that let's wait it out in coming weeks and months, how everything goes, what are the orders. Nevertheless, safety is all of our number one priority, and we must address that as the time approaches and more information becomes available. Right? That's all.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I have a couple of questions for Dr. Bregan, and I also have an announcement. The J.P. Stevens Band, the original plan is to have a concert outside for tomorrow, but because the possible rain and stuff, so they do not want to take a risk. So it's moved to Thursday. This Thursday, 6 o'clock, right outside. Bring your lawn chair. You're gonna, enjoy some beautiful music by the very talented, our young musicians. So Thursday, 6 o'clock, right outside. 2 questions for Dr. Bregan I got from some of the parents. One is about the graduation ceremony with the recent executive order from governor, especially for elementary, middle school, the graduation. Will they have these events? Will parents be allowed to attend? Will relatives be allowed to attend? And will there be any limit on attendance? That's the first question. The second is related to opening school in September. Some parents have some concerns that their children that are under 12 years old, they have some existing health concerns. I just want to see what the district's thoughts are for students who has underlying health issues. They're under 12 years old.
Mr. Shi always asks the toughest questions.
I'm sorry.
Just a couple things about the promotion ceremonies and recognizing students as they progress from one school to another. This conversation came up at the administrative level, and we started having discussions about that probably a month or two ago. And at that time, the restrictions regarding indoor seating and capacity and all that was significantly more limited than it has just, we were just informed that those are going to be released more come Friday for the Memorial Day weekend. So the plans we put in place entailed virtual celebrations and for those promotion ceremonies, and those have been in the works and are in the works and currently being put together and assembled for the parents and for the students to participate in virtually. So that's going to continue, and I know some people may be a little frustrated with that, but we did err on the side of caution when the planning stages started and we started putting those in place. So we're going to continue with that for this year. For our high school graduations, which, as many of you know, last year was virtual on the day of graduation, and then we had 3 on-site graduations for each school at different dates. I believe it was in July and in August. For this year's graduation, Rutgers was not available, and they let us know that early on. So our graduation ceremonies at both high schools will occur on their athletic fields. The John P. Stevens graduation is scheduled for 4 p.m. on June 22nd, and the Edison High School graduation ceremony is scheduled for the same day at 8 p.m. So hopefully those that can attend both sessions, and the board members will talk about that and who wants to attend and who can attend. I know I will be at both. Regarding the other, God willing, regarding the other issues for September, you know, much of the information, advice, and guidance we got about this pandemic and the COVID-19 virus comes from the CDC, comes from our governor, comes from the Department of Health and the New Jersey Department of Education. As of today, September 21 is going to look like September 2019. There will be no option for remote instruction. Students will be expected to come into schools. I would anticipate all the social distancing parameters would go away because there's no way we could have school in person in, you know, a building such as this in many of our schools if we had to adhere to that 6 feet social distancing, you know, outside of the classrooms. However, if any parent, even as we have today, and as we did in September of 2019, had any significant medical concerns that significantly compromised their child's health, whether for long-term or temporarily, we always made accommodations for those parents as is required by law and ethically is the right thing to do. So that would continue on those individual bases for students that are medically fragile and have those concerns. But I think as Bureau Patel said, as the summer evolves and things go on, we'll get more and more information. And hopefully this pandemic will get farther and farther in the rearview mirror for all of us as we move forward and revert back to some degree of normalcy. I was fortunate enough today, I tried to catch a game at Edison High School today for the lacrosse team. A lifetime ago I played that at Edison High and I actually coached it. But it was nice to see at the high school, it was brimming with activity, with children outside, softball, the volleyball team just finished. The lacrosse team was engaged in the middle of their game. The boys' baseball team was getting ready for the GMC tournament game tonight. And the life that sports and outside activities brings to our community and to our school system, it was palpable today at Edison High School. And it's just one of the things that we're so proud of. And it's sometimes people forget that that component of athletics and outside activities is so important for the education of the entire student. So it was happy to see, and the reason I bring that up is that for me, it's one more step towards that normalcy that we used to have, and we look forward to hopefully for September. I hope I answered the question, Mr. Shea.
Thank you.
One more question I have. From next month, the mask mandate is being lifted this Friday. What are we doing in the board meeting next month?
Well, the mask mandate is being lifted for inside, but as far as I know, the direction I got from schools is that the mask mandate should be in place for the remainder of the school year. So I would ask that the board adhere to that so we can model the model for the staff, but we haven't made that collective decision as a board.
Okay, thank you.
Jerry, just
Yes, yes.
Dr. Bragan, I have one request. This chair in the front row, which is broken, is a constant eyesore. Can we replace one of the chairs at the back and put this, and get that in the front and put this at the back?
I'll do what I can on that. But just as a note on that, Mrs. Matagor, one of the things the Finance and Facility Committee is considering with some of the ESSERS funds, which is the CARES Grant 2 monies, is renovation of both auditoriums at both high schools, and that would include replacing all the chairs as well.
Okay, thank you.
So you will see brand new chairs soon, hope.
Brand new auditorium.
No more eyesores. Okay, anybody else? Before I open to the public. Okay, now we are open for public comments. Yes, please.
I guess I was sitting in the wrong place. Could never see you with this crazy thing in the way. Okay. The mask mandate you just were talking about, it's supposed to end this Friday from Governor Murphy, is what I heard. So why are we still, I can't hear half of you. You don't even talk into the mic, and you don't even take your mask off. You don't even take your mask off. So what's the deal with having to have a mask mandate still in the school?
Do you have any other questions? I want you to repeat,
Why do we have to have a mask mandate in the school?
Okay, do you have any other questions?
Yes, I want to know what the Board of Education thinks about this critical race theory that's been going on. Many governors have decided they're not putting up with it. It's very scary to go into the elementary school and think that we could still teach that to young students. And may I ask what you said, another thing, about vaccinations? Did you say that students in the elementary school have to have vaccinations? Is that what I heard? I mean, it's very hard to hear because nobody wants to speak into that mic clearly unless this gentleman decided to actually blast it at one point, and it was wonderful. Anybody have anything to say about that?
Well, do you have any other question? I don't want to take your 6 minutes, that's why.
6 minutes?
You have 6 minutes to ask all your questions, I will respond. Sorry.
All right.
So I could get all your questions and we'll
So
address
those are the
one.
three.
Those three.
Those were the three.
Okay, all right. Dr. Brigham, you want to try the
Yeah,
mask?
sure.
and all
The
these
mask mandate comes from the CDC protocols call for
You can
schools to
go
keep
see.
in effect for the remainder of the school year. And, I'm not a medical professional. I take my advice from those people that know and the scientists that put that out there. So we have to follow the parameters put forth by the New Jersey Department of Health, New Jersey Department of Education, and the CDC protocols. And their protocols, even though the mask mandates are being lifted, in many places, including, our great state on Friday, I believe, the recommendation was for schools to maintain their mask-using protocols for the remainder of the school year. So we are going to do that because we've tried to adhere to those as best we can for the entire school year.
Dr. Reagan, Executive Order 242, which is the new executive order, mandates, it's on.
Okay.
It mandates that the mask
Get
be worn in
closer.
schools still.
Even
it's
better.
It's not, the CDC guidance is what guides it, obviously, but the mandate is from the governor. So it's an executive order under his power during the pandemic, so I don't think we have an option.
Okay.
I mean, to be, so I think it's a little more forceful is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, thank you. Board Attorney Shadanian. Regarding the vaccines, we would not require any students to get vaccines. We don't require staff to get vaccines. We've made them available for staff members because if they want to do it, it's not for me to make that judgment for them, nor is it for students. We do follow the laws regarding vaccinations for students when they enter our schools, and those are established by the state. But there are parameters for exemptions for those, and parents sometimes do take advantage of that as well. So I don't anticipate this board making a mandate for vaccinations for students. They haven't done so in the past, and I don't think they'll do that moving forward. But if we can offer them for families that want to get them, I don't know why we wouldn't do that.
That address all your questions? Okay, what's the other one? You said,
There was one more.
yeah. Critical race theory. You know what that?
I'm not well versed in the critical race theory, and I will look that up, but the curriculums that we adhere to has come up at a few other meetings before, or those standards and guidelines are provided by the State Department of Education. Now, teachers have academic freedom within that curriculum in the classroom on how they instruct those New Jersey student learning standards, but we can't pick those. We can't choose what to teach. It's delineated by each grade level and content areas that get to secondary level. So I'll look into that. I'm not well versed in it to comment on it, but we will
Okay, so, all right. So do we have other, okay? Yes.
Tony DePasquale, 2 Pine Street. One of the questions I have is Mr. Mohan Patel was mentioning that you're going to be working on solving some of the overcrowding issues, and you're going to be working on 3 elementary schools. What I'm confused about is I thought our bigger issues were in the high schools. I thought those were the ones that were really overcrowded. So I'm just curious as to why we're first looking at the 3 elementary schools and not the 2 high schools. So that's the first question I have. The second question is for Mr. Shi and the attorney. So somebody was posting a flyer, and it was actually the brother of the mayoral candidate, Mr. Mahesh Bhagia. And the flyer on WhatsApp, and I have proof that he did put this out there because it was tied to him. And the flyer says this: a biker rally in support of Colin B, Saturday, May 22nd, 9 a.m., starting and ending point, JMP Primary School parking lot. Come to support Colin B. And then it has on here, Colin B, Bhagia, biker. So my question is it ethically or legally an issue that a political rally is on school grounds? And according to this flyer, there's no sponsor on this. The only name on here is JMP Primary School, which could insinuate that this biker rally is being sponsored by JMP Primary School. From what I understand, that would be an issue, that something political is being sponsored by a school. Again, if there was another name on here saying this is sponsored by somebody else, then I would say, okay, it's still not right. But this is showing that it's at the JMP Primary School. So who else would be sponsoring this if that's the only name on there? And what also troubles me is, once I did let people know this, one of the responses on Facebook after I posted this was, check out the addresses before you post your lies. And that was from Mr. Shi. Now again, on here, the only address it says is JMP Primary School parking lot. Okay, so I checked out the address that was on here, and I don't understand why Mr. Shi would say, check out the addresses before you post your lies. What lies? Okay, the lie is that it was put out on this flyer, okay, and it's being denied when it's right here. And I know you saw this, Mr. Shi. I know you were aware of this. Okay, so I'd like to know if there's some legal issues with a school sponsoring a political rally. I also remember last meeting, because I watched it, a resident came up here and said we need to keep politics out of the Board of Education and the schools. Okay, this is bringing politics into the Board of Education in the schools. It's not being done by me. I am making you all aware. Are you done? Are you done?
You have 2 more minutes.
Are you done?
2 more minutes you have. Finish it.
Are you done?
Don't address him, please. If you have.
Well, can you tell him to stop the
Sir?
antics while I'm trying to talk?
Sir, don't talk over me. If I'm going to speak.
Can you
take a-
control your Board
Can
of
you let me speak?
Education?
And can
Go
you
ahead.
stop? All right, you direct, well, Vice President Patel, please restrain yourself. All questions have to be directed.
I
to
have
the
no
president.
problem with that, but he is distracting.
Well, then. you
So
can
he
ask-
should be
so
sitting
no,
there
you don't-
respectfully.
Excuse me, sir, don't tell me what to do. You need to direct.
Excuse
You're-
me.
Excuse me. You need to
Excuse
direct-
me.
I
You
was
tell
speaking.
him what to do
You're out of
then.
order, sir. I'm going to ask the president to have you removed if you don't stop talking when I'm talking.
Okay.
All right? I'm
Go ahead.
giving you an instruction.
Go ahead.
You need to direct your question.
Which I am doing.
You're interrupting again. Can you stop interrupting and let me finish my statement? You need to direct your question through the chair. He will then address your question and deal with another board member if you have a complaint about their behavior. But you do not direct questions to individual board
Okay,
members.
Mr. Sheik, can you please tell Mr. Mohan Patel to stop the antics over here while I am speaking? Is that better, sir?
That's exactly
Is
what
that
you're supposed to
better?
do. That's civil.
Okay,
correct.
well, I shouldn't even have to say that. He sees what he's doing.
I don't-
Disrespectful. He's been disrespectful for multiple meetings to board members. See this? You see this? This is your vice president.
you come here
I am
to
trying to
promote-
talk respectfully, bring up issues, and this is how he treats residents. Okay? So this is the problem. He doesn't care. You don't care. If you cared, you would stop the disrespect. But you don't. That's the problem.
Finish your
You said
questions.
I lied.
Finish your question.
You lied because you saw the flyer that it had the school name on it.
Finish the question.
I am finishing.
You done?
I'm not done yet. I still have 36
Okay,
seconds.
yeah, go do that. Finish
Okay?
it.
So you tell me, can you clear up you saying that this flyer was lies when it was right there, posted on WhatsApp by Mr. Raj Bhagia, and nobody had a problem with it? Thank you.
So as far as the overcrowding issue, you want to, yeah.
Yeah, what we talked about at the Finance and Facilities Committee at this meeting, but to carry on what we talked about at a previous meeting, was the most pressing overcrowding issue is the high schools. And we know those students are coming because they're in grades right now 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and we know the numbers. We know the number of students that are progressing at each grade level, 1,300, 1,350, to graduating classes that are much lower, 1,100, 1,200 students. So we know that's an issue. We know that's coming right around the corner. So one of the things that the board, we brought some ideas to the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting that we're looking at and actively exploring, is a property on the corner of Talmadge and Coolidge Road that's approximately 10 acres, about possibly creating some type of career academy. And we're trying to flesh that out, what that would look like, to alleviate some of the students from both high schools. Try to do something innovative, something creative, and something that'll be cost-effective as well. So that's what our short-term plan is for the high school, the overcrowding. And we're looking at that. And that was actually, I think, Mr. Patel mentioned some of the results of the middle school survey, because it would be the middle school parents, middle school students who will be making those decisions as the students mature from grades 6, 7, and 8. So we are looking at the overcrowding for that, and those exact parameters and what that looks like will determine the dollar amount, how much it'll cost, and all that. And we have to get more information. And the architects are now pursuing that in multiple models to bring back to the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting, and then bring to the board for consideration. The overcrowding that we talked about at the Finance and Facility Committee meeting for the other schools were the other 3 projects outside of the Lincoln Elementary School and the 2 high schools that were included in the referendum that was presented in 2019 and early 2020, I think. And those were John Adams Middle School, John Marshall Elementary School, and James Madison Intermediate. So we want to try to look at what we can do for those schools as well. So I'd like to bring up the referendum because it wasn't one of my greatest successes. But the projects that were contained in that referendum were those 6 schools. So Mr. Shi actually refocused that conversation at the Finance and Facility Committee meeting to go back to those ones that were the most pressing. And that's what we're working on now.
Thank you. John, you want to address the bike rally? Sir?
I'll address it briefly. I mean, I can turn it back over to Dr. Bragan. This was a topic that, certainly it was not, it was raised to the administration. And my understanding was that it was a meeting point, and there was going to be a ending point, and that there was no rally, that there was not going to be any kind of activity at all, that no permit was applied for. But at the end of the day, my understanding, and again, Dr. Bragan can speak to this better than I can, is that the school grounds are used by many Edison residents and some non-residents over the weekend, the fields, the parking lot. There isn't anybody that restricts anybody from using the school facility outside of the buildings, if you would, during the weekend. It's open to the public. So if people want to meet up in a parking lot, it's very difficult to restrict that. They have a right to meet, it's a public place, and then they have a right to leave. They don't have a right to congregate and hold a rally. I would object to that myself, and Dr. Bragan and I would have addressed that, but that wasn't what I was on the understanding that that's not what happened, that it was just a meeting point and an ending point, and then everybody dispersed and they used it as a parking and a staging area. So that was our discussion. We believe that it was appropriate and that there wasn't an issue.
So if you look at the flyer, the starting point of that is on Tingley Lane, and it's in front of residence area. And the ending point is at the First Day Squad, the old First Day Squad. So it's not on school ground. So that's what that rally is. And unfortunately, some of the people try to bring the township elections politics into the Board Ed. This is something they just spoke at the last meeting, and I don't know why, but okay. Anybody else? Yes, in the back.
Good evening. My name is Jim Casey. I live at 51 Lynch Avenue. I have 4 children. One's a freshman in college, one's a junior at J.P. Stevens, and 2 are at Menlo Park Elementary School. I'm here tonight to speak about the baseball field conditions at J.P. Stevens High School. To be honest with you, it's unsafe. It's on level. You have a grate out in the center field. It's also used for soccer, which my boys play as well. And to be honest with you, the boys' baseball team played at Old Bridge this year, East Brunswick, South Brunswick, Monroe, and Edison High School, which all have really nice complex. There's points I've been concerned for my son's safety. And I do know for a fact that 2 schools will not come and play at J.P. Stevens, and 2 umpires told me they will not umpire here because they are concerned that their name would be involved in anything with injuries. I was at a game here with Monroe and another game with Old Bridge, sitting with parents of friends of ours from the opposing teams, and they were I was embarrassed. And I guess my biggest question is, what is going to be done? Because I do believe my taxes are being paid. Edison was given a gorgeous complex, which I think is wonderful. It's great. Our boys had a chance to play there twice, but then they come back to the field here, which is downright embarrassing. I mean, there was a ball that was hit, branches stopped it from being played properly. So my question to the board is, what are you looking to do? And what stage? Because one high school has a gorgeous complex and one has something that's really unsafe to play at.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So you want to address this?
Sure.
Yeah. You can-
Mr. Casey, is Heather your wife?
What's that?
Is Heather your wife?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She emailed
And
me.
also, not only is it a baseball field, it's used as a soccer field as well.
Yeah.
And the other high schools are doing the same.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
I think Mr. Patel shared some of the Finance and Facilities Committee meeting notes from the meetings we had, the 2 we had in the last couple of weeks. One of the primary concerns is that J.P. Stevens Field, right? We want to try to get some immediate relief right now for some of the concerns. To be quite frank, I didn't know they were that dire. I didn't until it was brought to my attention, and I know Mr. Shi was on the field. I went out the next day with Mr. Colibas. We saw some of those immediate concerns and did our best to address them. I understood those tree branches were cut down. If they weren't, I'll revisit that tomorrow and try to make some immediate things to improve the field and the safety that we can. But the long-term plan is a turf field, if we can do it. We're looking into that. We have our architect. It was said at the minutes of the meeting. Our architect is going to look at that. They have to scope out the plans, and we have to look what that'll cost, see where we can get the monies. And we're doing that. And, you know, we'd like to do it sooner than later. We'll try to get it done as quickly as we can, but I can't do that by myself. It takes the board, the finance committee, and everybody. I think we've heard the concerns of the parents. We're listening. It's not that we're deaf on that, and you're coming up and we're just saying, no, we're not doing it. We are. And for any parent, I'm a parent. I got 3 daughters. Yesterday is too late. I get it. We got to get moving and get it done, and we will do everything we can. I actually had a phone call with Rob Karabinchik yesterday about having the county kind of fund a portion of that, which is, he was very open to that idea. I have to go down that channels and go through the right people. I don't know who that is yet, but we're working on it. We're not sitting here saying, okay, yeah, here's another complainer. We will address it. I give you my word. I know no matter what we do, it won't be fast enough because you want it done yesterday, and I understand that.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I guess my other question will be on top of that is, how come Edison had it and nothing was done to our field? Because it's not like it was in great shape. Why was there one done and now it's being done 2 years later?
Do you have any other question? I don't want to.
Okay.
That's it?
That's it for now.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we are addressing this. Edison, before there was some, if you remember the referendum, there was something that about moving the fields that possibly touching impacts this field. So that was not part of this, the initial phase. And we are looking into this. Dr. Bregan said, yeah, we wish you were done yesterday, but it's coming, it's on the agenda. We're going to address it. There are some immediate needs we're going to address. I visited that place a couple of times, and I walked with the coach on the fields, and he pointed me some of the soft spots. And we got some of the specifics about the clay mix from one of the parents. We'll try to see if we can address the amount first, the short term. And the long term, as we hear in the meeting minutes, we're looking into the turf field, and we'll get some estimates and stuff, and we'll keep everybody posted. Okay, anybody else? Yes.
Rich Patagna, I live at 41 Frost Avenue West. I'm a graduate at J.P. Stevens. I've got 3 boys in the school district. My wife is also a school teacher here in town. Like Mr. Casey, I'm here to talk about the conditions at the field. And honestly, they've covered all the safety issues. I sent the entire board an email today about the conditions in both the JV and the varsity fields, and it's an embarrassment. And not to your point, Dr. Bregan, about the additional value that academics and athletics play alongside of one another, it's disappointing that the student athlete here at JP, soccer and baseball, is not afforded the same opportunities they are against the teams they're playing against. The practice time is more valuable than being able to play a game. When it rains or it's cold or it's snow on the ground, those teams are practicing. JV and freshmen here don't practice for days at a time because there's no field. It's unplayable. Varsity uses a parking lot. I've watched my boy play tryout for a high school sport on a parking lot behind a tennis court around a puddle of water because the field is unplayable. What happened at Edison High in their field that it went that long is a whole different discussion. It shouldn't have gone that long before that was fixed. They deserved it. We were told at that time it would happen a year after. We're now up here complaining and hearing that we're looking at a plan, that's not acceptable. It's really not. Because we all know you need an engineering study, you need an environmental study before you can even look at an architectural design to figure out what's going to cost. That takes time. So the freshmen that are here now probably may not even see that turf field. So what's the time that you're going to report back to us? There's a meeting June 5th, right? We're going to be here until there's a plan in place. It's not a threat, it's just a promise. So I'd like to know what the timeline is to come back with a concrete plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
I could speak to the time
Yeah,
frame.
you want to talk about that? Yeah.
Just regarding the time frame, and I understand everyone's concern, I really do. I heard you, I heard the gentleman before, I heard all the parents last week as well. And I can't speak to why this wasn't done quicker. I can't speak to how Edison got it done as quickly as it did. That was in process when I came on as a superintendent. My understanding at that time was that the referendum included some renovations of fields and tennis courts over here that would disrupt the layout here, that they wanted to all do it at once, but I can't speak to what happened before I got it. I can speak to what's happening since here. And regarding the studies, like you said, engineering, the flooding, the water, all that, I don't know the intricacies regarding the land management stuff and things like that, but the architect coordinates all that. We have to get them on board, start the process rolling. So it's not like we're getting the architect, and then that's going to take time. Those are the people that coordinate those efforts. And while I haven't done a field here, per se, I've done this in other places, and that's the first step. So we'll keep you posted. And my intention, and I can't speak for anyone except myself, because it's the board's action that makes these decisions, we want this done sooner than later. So your son's a freshman. It better be done by the time he's a senior if we're going to do this. So you got my commitment to do all I can to support that.
And I spoke to Coach Mazzano and also spoke to our athletic director. So our athletic director said that, Coach's son is graduating another year. Will he be able to see a turf field? So my answer is we'll try to make that happen. All right? So if that gives you some hint of timeline, this is what we try to do. Thank you. Yes, in the back.
Venkata Bandi. Mr. Shi, usually I come here to either address the student problems or thank the management, or if I differ with any of the decisions that you make, like esports, I would come and say it. Like last time I said, instead of spending that much money, you guys can start with a club instead of spending that money. But esports is certainly gaining attraction in the college placement, specializations, and future jobs, I understand. And I think last week, after 3 months I came here and tried to bring it to your attention that there is a concerted, well-coordinated effort to attack the BOE. You know what happened? Then I got the text messages from one of the residents that, there is a rally that is happening, and they could run the opera. I think they did, and they couldn't find anything. I think anybody can give a rally, even I can create a fake thing, or a pamphlet, or I can have a get-together, or a cricket, or anything, but that doesn't mean that BOE is involved in it or give a permission to it. I think before they make that FB post, they should have at least verified with the BOE, either with superintendent or with the lawyer or with anybody before they're making those things. So I'm not against that guy, that resident is my good friend, so that we do communicate. So I'm not here for that. The reason why I'm here is I was sitting at home and trying to address some of the other issues. I came here last meeting and I got at least 8 no-caller ID calls trying to shut me off. It shows the hatred. Am I the minority and going to back off? Absolutely not. I'm going to tell those mafia and the goons, stop calling me. And the kids, school kids, college kids are trying to call me and getting paid by somebody. I'm not the kind of guy who is going to back off. I am here for the BOE. I don't want to curse. I don't give a rat's ass to the council or mayor elections, or I don't care anything. I'm an individual, a parent, and I do care about the school. I do pay a lot of money to the private schools because this school district is not meeting my expectations. And if anybody is really trying to form a group, I'm going to bring my friends and family here starting next meeting. Do you want to make this political? I can. But I think I'm officially telling, leave the BOE for your political crap. BOE is for non-partisan, for students. I think we have a great leadership. I may be having differences with superintendent, but he's been doing great. The principals are doing great. And you guys are doing everything that is possible for the school district. If they don't separate politics, their mayor elections, their everything, even if you sneeze, Jerry sneezed because of so-and-so, he's supporting somebody. If you walk, somebody says Jerry did because of somebody. If you don't respond because Jerry did because of the so-and-so. EDO has nothing to do with it. Republican Party had nothing to do with it. I'm a Republican. They still try to blame me that, oh, why are you supporting this? I don't support any Democrat Party people. I'm a Republican. Why should I really show my allegiance or prove to somebody? They're questioning me that, oh, did you speak to your candidate? Did you speak to do this? I don't care. But I'm formally, officially giving, the more you provoke me, the more you will see me, and I don't think it would be the nice for anybody who is trying to put a concerted effort. I drove here after I saw this, just to let everybody know that those who are trying to no call ready, I think those cowards should be knowing that I'm not a type of guy who can be pushed back by making some faint call. I could call the cops and file a complaint, but I'm not going to do it to catch those innocent students that are calling me. But at the end of the day, BOE is for the students and the parents and for the taxpayers. Please fulfill your responsibility. Don't even address anything that is related to outside political crap that is happening. Sorry for cursing words. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your comment. Okay, anybody else? Yeah.
Hello. How are you? I don't know. Just getting my thoughts together now. The first thing I did want to do was thank and recognize our teachers and educational service professionals.
Just procedural thing, name, please.
I just want to recognize, I'm sorry, Brian Rivera, Stony Road?
Thank you.
Okay. The first thing I want to do is recognize our teacher and educational service professionals. I value their hard work. Our teachers, our paras, our custodians, our nurses, everybody. I wish you all could get an award because you did an outstanding job, especially during this pandemic. So thank you all. I also want to say, Pat, I don't know who you are, but that was a phenomenal presentation. Something I'll steal from you. I liked how it was. It was well presented and heartfelt. So very good job to you. The other thing I was thinking or asking, and I don't know if you do this, do you guys post the minutes for the committees? Because yours was a very lengthy and detailed report. I appreciate that, but half of it I missed. But I kept hearing the same thing of all this work that needs to be done, which I hope it gets done. But I noticed it was the same architect. My understanding is when you usually do projects, you're usually bidding them out and trying to get the best price and the best vendor. So I just kept hearing the same thing. So I just want to make sure the process was correct. The other thing too is, again, I've said it before, I don't do social media, so half the time I get my information from other people or I hear it here. Tony's comment, if that really did occur, I don't know if it occurred or didn't occur, but I think that we need to be very careful about doing stuff like that. I just Googled it right off the bat, and I'm looking at, I went right to school ethics, 18A 12 to 1221, and I was just reading some of these things. So my suggestion is, or it's just a comment, just be mindful and be careful, because that's the first thing I did. Anybody could Google it, and you could see, interpretations could be, you have your interpretation, but reading this, I have mine. So there is particular issues here where individuals could possibly get ethics charges. Just be mindful. And then I had one other thought. I apologize. my train of thought was just thrown off. Dr. Bragan, with the ESL, I saw there were being stipends for testing. Is this a different type of testing, or is this related to access testing? And I was wondering how access testing is going within the district. I think we have 2 more weeks before the window closes. And I guess that's it for now. Everybody have a wonderful night.
Okay. Dr. Bragan.
Just on the access test, and I believe it's going well. Our supervisor in that area is Nirav Vlad, and he does a great job coordinating it. I know, I think we might have joked at it at a previous meeting that when he needed all this space for the online tests, apparently there was some hands-on material too that is taking place. So any monies in there, I would imagine, is for summer testing, that our normal staff members would do that during the school year.
Okay. As far as, yeah, you want to?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I appreciate that there was a review of the statute, and I think when you say you better be careful, I assume that Mr. Rivera directing that to the school board members. My understanding was the school board members had no knowledge or no involvement with whatever was going on. That this was done by outside persons who were organizing some event that was going to begin there and end there. So that has nothing to do with the Board of Education. Board of Education doesn't have any control over that other than to call the police department essentially and say, I mean, I can ask Dr. Bragan comment on it and say, hey, we don't want anybody in our parking lot, but that could become another issue because they let other people use it during the weekends and there's no restrictions, is my understanding. So if that's the case, it's hard to tell one group you can use it and another group you can't.
And the board attorney and I had that conversation because it was brought to my attention that there was a flyer out there that indicated that something was occurring, either beginning or ending, I don't remember, in the school parking lot. And as a resident and taxpayer of the town, if you wanted to park your car and take your family for a bike ride and park it at the JMP school, I'm not going to call the police to kick you out of there on the weekend. There's no one there. So the difference, and again, the board attorney helped clarify the legal aspect of it for me, is I don't know what transpired. I don't know what the biker thing was. I have no idea of it. I wasn't here on that weekend day. But if somebody said we're going to start here and meet here and then go and then did whatever they did and came back and ended there, any taxpayer in town could do that. And unless it was a rally, if it was an event that took place on school grounds, then you need a use of facilities form, as everybody else, whether it's a profit or nonprofit group, would get. And if they didn't have that and they were doing that, and then we would, as our board attorney said, we would ask the police to remove them because there's liability issues and other things like that. So, again, I deferred to the board attorney. We had a conversation about it. Our expectation and understanding of what was supposed to take place. I don't even know what took place. I don't know if something happened there or not. But it wasn't a legal issue at that time.
Can I just ask something?
Yeah,
Jerry?
let's, come on, let him address, there's no back and forth. You have your rebuttal, you can talk about it. Okay, there's no back and forth here. All right, yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to ask, I have no idea what you're talking about. The only thing I'm concerned about, and I'm not looking at it, did Mr. DePasquale say it was sponsored by JMP?
No.
That is the only, I understand people can go in the parking lot, and they do. But the thing that bothered me, which I heard, and you're nodding, is it was sponsored by the school? That's
I don't believe the flyer
different.
said that. I don't believe it said that. I think that was an interpretation that someone said could be drawn from that.
All right, listen.
That would be the only thing that would bother me about the flyer, if it said a school sponsored it.
John, you want
So
to
I'll just respond to board member or answer or the board member comment. When Dr. Bragan called me about it, there certainly was no intimation, there was no discussion that it was sponsored by one of our schools, because if that had happened, that would be a totally different situation.
Correct.
And that would be something that we would have put a stop to, as much as we could put a stop to it. I mean, anybody outside of the world can say something sponsored by whoever they want to say it's sponsored by. We don't control what other people write. At the end of the day, certainly the Edison Board of Education is not sponsoring any partisan, political, or otherwise political conversation or discourse, as it's inappropriate, and it would be a violation of the School Ethics Act and other statutes as well. So the option that I discussed with Dr. Bragan was the fact they said, look, if you have a policy that you're going to lock up every parking lot, and lock up every facility, and lock up like a tennis court, or shut down the baseball fields and the soccer fields that other groups use on the weekends, you know, that's your option. You can either do it you either do it or you don't do it. If it's open, it's open. So if somebody in town, as Dr. Bragan said, a tax-paying resident, or even someone from outside of Edison comes to a parking lot that's not monitored, the Board of Education really don't have it controlled. We have insurance, for sure, in case something happens on those premises. We're protecting our residents and our taxpayers from any kind of issue that might happen, but the grounds are open to the public, is my understanding. So to stop that, again, if there was a rally or a protest that was being held there, at that point, then if there was no permit, I believe the Edison Township Police would probably get involved.
Okay, thank you. So, I really don't know why we're talking about this. This is really election stuff. First, no board members involved in this. None. Okay? No matter what you hear on Facebook, whatever, none. I actually spoke to the person who organized this thing. Every Saturday, the residents around that area, they bike. They bike around the, whatever. So for that weekend, they said, okay, you know what? Let's just have a bike rally for whatever. Okay? I don't want to bring politics into this. I don't want to talk about it. Okay? So that's why they posted this. Right? So that was brought to my attention, from someone, text me on my own personal, on my phone. I don't appreciate that, and accusing me of behind this. Right? No board member has been involved in this at all. And this is just something that the residents in that area, they do this on a weekly basis. Next week, if you go there, there's probably another bike. They're going somewhere else. So to put this onto the head of the board members and put it onto the board, BOE, or schools sponsoring this, I don't know what the purpose is, but that's not the truth. Okay, the truth is that's not the truth. Right? So, I don't know what more we can talk about this. And if you look at the flyer, the starting point is 310 to 330 McKinley Avenue. Okay? The end point is 845, 878. If you Google it, that's the firehouse right in front of Grove Avenue. So that's end of discussion. So 2 people brought this thing up, right? There's 2 people talking about not bring politics into the Board of Ed. And this is politics bring into Board Ed. We have a lot of things we're going to talk about for the board. Meanwhile, people talking about this is the interest star. It's very sad. Okay? Any other? Yes, Matt.
Matt Revnak, ETA Vice President, 2 Ethel Road. I just want to make a comment, although I didn't intend to get up for this, but with the baseball parents, I coached baseball here about 20 years ago, and even back then the field was not in the greatest shape. So I do appreciate you guys fixing the things that you could fix. But, it is a time where safety is of concern. I also umpired for 25 years, and I umpired games on that field. And, as an umpire, there were times you do have consideration of calling a game because it's unsafe. I personally, my own daughter, stepped into a divot at one point and tore a gastrocnemius muscle, not here, but in a deficient field. So, losing 6 weeks of playing because of a tear of a muscle, thank God it wasn't the Achilles, which is right below the gastrocnemius, which would be even more devastating. So I know you guys are taking the safety in consideration, but really do make, sometimes the investment, I know I played on the turf field in Old Bridge in a men's hardball league, and it's huge playing on something like that. It rains 10 minutes later, you're playing. The drainage is awesome. And the money you're expending on fixing a field all the time, you're pretty good for the next probably 7 to 10 years, as long as you maintain the turf properly. So sometimes it's a bigger investment up front, but down the road, it's going to save you money. The second couple of other things I want is actually good things. Number one, I know Mr. Shi is excited, as I am, as far as the number of students that got into the military academies. But I also want to mention, I teach round figures, about 100 seniors at here at J.P. Stevens, and I'm sure Edison High is the same way. But I also want to mention some of the great colleges, as usual, the tradition of our schools that they have also gotten into. Honors programs and specialized programs within those colleges. Again, as always, our students this year have maintained and upheld the great traditions of our students moving forward. So I just want to acknowledge all the other students as well. The third thing, we are currently in AP testing for our AP students. It actually started this week in person. We opted to do the third testing session. So I know this week was foreign languages. I believe today was physics and chemistry. And it really kicks into gear next week and for over the next 2 weeks. So I just want to mention, for our students, that there are some students that do watch this, best of wishes on the AP tests. And, again, let's keep up that great tradition that our students always accomplish. Finally, happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. Everybody thinks of Memorial Day as, again, military, veterans, etc., and that's definitely at the top of the agenda. But as we approach also this September, 20 years since 9/11, we've had students from our school. I taught 2 of them that are, were in the not plaque, but the memorial in front, that we remember people lost at that point, and also obviously through this year-long pandemic for the people we lost through, due to COVID. So let's let this hopefully Memorial Day be a nice weekend and, remember the people that we've lost through the military and by other means. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Do any other audience who's first timer? No first timers? Okay.
Tony DePasquale, 2 Pine Street. So I'm a little confused why you have a issue with residents keeping our public officials accountable. If something is done incorrectly, and we feel it's done incorrectly, we have the right to hold our public officials accountable. We are not to keep quiet. We are to expose. We are to bring up issues. That's our right as Americans, as citizens in Edison. Again, if it was just a casual bike rally that they do every weekend, a flyer wouldn't have been made. Raj Bhagia wouldn't have been sending this flyer out on WhatsApp. This was an official event. Okay, 4 days before, the day before, 4 days it says here, you made this comment, so you knew about this on Friday, because it said 4 days from today, okay? So you knew about this. It says it right here on Friday, you knew about it, okay? You are not even allowed to have political signs within a few hundred feet of a school, of the property. The cars on the video for this bike rally had signs on the cars. They were wearing T-shirts supporting a candidate, okay? They were supporting a specific candidate on school property. It says on the flyer, starting point, which means they were on school property supporting a candidate. That is not legal to do that. This is what they were doing. And to clarify, Ms. Conway, through the chair, it's the only point that says on here, starting point, JMP Primary School parking lot. It doesn't say anybody else who sponsors this. Again, if it was a sponsor on here, then we could say, okay, this organization sponsored it. If you put a location of a place, that is sponsoring an event. If you go to a reception hall and you say it's at this hall, that place is sponsoring that event. All there is on this flyer is JMP Primary School parking lot, which somebody could read as it being sponsored by the school. So unless Mr. Shi could have clarified that it wasn't being sponsored. But no, he said, check out the addresses before you post your lies. He didn't say, no, it's not being sponsored by the school. It's not being sponsored by the school property. He could have said that, but he didn't, because that would have been a lie. That's why, okay? Again, we need to keep everybody accountable that we have voted in, from the President of the United States all the way down. Thank you.
You can hold people accountable, but not through lies. That's what it is, okay? Your agenda is lie. You have lied all over the place, okay? You have no data to back it up. again, our attorney has told you the answer. You just don't like the answer, so you keep coming over here. You are the one, stop. You are the one who talk about taking politics out of Edison. I don't even want to bring this thing up, okay? Look yourself in the mirror, and I don't want to even bring up what happened last year on the election, okay? Right? What does that mean? No, I don't want it, because that defeats the purpose of this meeting. This is not for political. This is for schools. That is not the forum for you to bring all these township politics in here. Thank you. Do any other public comments? Yes, you can go.
Brian Rivera, Stony Road. I want to put it for the record, I have no idea what Tony's talking about in regards to a flyer. None whatsoever. But when I hear someone comment about it, I'm going to have an intellectual conversation and ask, and then I'm going to click on Google, text my group, and ask questions. So the only comment I made was, you must be very careful with this because it could fall under an ethics charge. That's all I said. I didn't appreciate you staring at me, scolding me like I'm a 2-year-old child, because I'm not, and that's how I felt.
I'm sorry?
I accept your apology, but I don't know this dude. I don't talk to this dude. I hear what he says. I question it, and I shouldn't be treated that way. Because to tell you one thing, I'm getting a little hot, and it's not fair. So I wanted to say that. I officially know nothing about what he's talking about. I just brought it up. Be careful. It could be considered an ethics charge while I'm reviewing it. The other thing you don't want to look at is election engineering. These are all things I just Googled real quick. So I thought I was kind and fair and respectful in asking a question, and I honestly didn't like the way I was spoke to. That's the second time you spoke to me like that since I've been here for the 2 years, and I'm asking you politely, please do not speak to me like that again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please, next time before you ask the question, look at what she's talking about before you come and ask the question. That's it. Okay? You got to know what you're talking about before you come over and speak. There's no back and forth. You have the right to ask the question, but listen, take a look at what he was talking about. There are a lot of details on the thing. It's not, you don't know it. Okay? That's what we're talking about. The devil is in the details. Okay? That's what I'm going to say.
And my answer, if I can just comment, my answer was simply, I was trying to just touch on the law with respect to comment. Okay, I just.
Please. Okay? Yes.
Venkata Bandi, Edison. I think the flyer didn't say, when Tony sent it to me, it didn't say who sponsored it. And I think I want to take side of Tony that his intent is right to make elected officials accountable.
Mm-hmm.
But the communication, the way he portrayed, that he accused BOE without actually reaching out to the BOE. I think that small change would have really helped it. I practiced law in a foreign country for 5 years. I'm a law student. I was a law student before. All I'm trying to say here is, intent is right, the execution is bad. When the intent was to make elected officials accountable, then he could have reached out to you. He has his number, he has everybody's number saying that you guys have that. But his intent of posting on the Facebook and having BOE colluded with it actually caused an issue. And when he reached out to me last week that you should question it, I asked him, do the Oprah, are you sure that BOE is part of it? Is BOE sponsoring it? Nowhere I've seen. I think, Jerry, you're right in your own way because the starting and ending addresses are different. But there is one verbiage that says that starting and end point is JMP. So both ways it can be interpreted. But I think if we have a good intent of resolve it to keep the schools, then those discussions won't happen in WhatsApp and Facebooks. It could be a formal email to superintendent, could have clarified easily, or any known BOE member, it would have been much easier. So this is where I see this is, I'm not trying to take any side here. we can easily address and solve the issues without actually putting our dirty laundry on the Facebook and WhatsApp. If our intent is clear to make the elected officials accountable, if our intent is to make the schools better, I would strongly urge my friend and others, question one-on-one or write to the superintendent or write to the attorney saying that is it right or not, rather than cleaning the dirty laundry in the Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just there's a small group of people who like to go on and pay Facebook for whatever reason. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. Any other public comments? All right. See none. Can I have a motion for the adjournment of the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. See you in June.